Hello everyone. This is how to create an email through Mailchimp. First things first, we go to mailchimp.com. I am already logged in. One thing that I do, I just click on audience. You can click on any of the three tabs. It will lead you to this platform, which is called Mailchimp. Um, we have campaigns, and different campaigns is basically different audiences that we have. We currently have two audiences. One of them is customers, which is basically Shop.Incredible Florists and Happy Life advertisements or any specials going through the website. And the other one is store. So store specials like Super Weekend, which we have once a month at the moment, or any other specials like potentially a Grinch tree would be advertised to the stores. For us to create an advertisement email, one shortcut that can be created if you already like something that you have previously made is to click on this thing and click on replicating. This will replicate the email. The only thing you have to do to avoid confusion is to rename the email, but I will touch on more details about that later. Another option of a shortcut is to create a template. Here I have created a few templates before. Some of them should be deleted, but generally speaking, this can be a nice shortcut. But at the moment, we'll start from scratch. We click create and we click on email. Usually it's a regular email because plain text is different. Um, and template is another good option, but we'll just click regular. So to create an email, we have to create an identifying name for it, which we saw previously. Um, like Happy Life Update for this date. I will just name this one as test example email for tutorials, I guess. And I begin. A few things that you need to know. Everything here has to be filled up. So first things first, you have to identify, is it a promotional email for Shop.Incredible Florist, Happy Life, or any other online promotional content, or is it store-related things? Um, for example, I want to create an advertisement of the new updates we have for Christmas. I'm having to click to stores. Um, Another thing is you can have segments or tags. Tags are created because they identify a certain customer base. Sometimes it's just uh, by the last name. A few tags that we have created were these. I am unsure about some of them, but some of them are basically identifiers who has not opened an email or who has opened an email so that we don't resend it to multiple people twice to avoid annoyance. That is, there are very specific situations where you use segment or tags. Um, if there are more questions specifically to using tags, we can address them in person. Um, I generally save it without personalizing to fields. Another very important thing that you have to pay attention even when you're replicating an email from previous times is we are not newsletters, we are Incredible Florist. And you have to write it down or double check that it is Incredible Florist uh, under the name every single time, just because that avoids lots of confusion coming from customers who are subscribed to our email. Subject, anything attractive, usually is related to numbers. So, for example, for super weekends, we prefer to have the $5 included in there, $5 per dozen of roses. that generally attracts customers because they see value. Another thing would be a joke or a statement or a relatable statement. One of our most successful campaigns was with the subject line Monday sucks, because contextually it was during the time when we were losing an hour during springtime. Um, in this situation, I I don't know. Maybe we will say do not miss out on uh 70% sales, or anything like that. Anything that has numbers or just a question of rhetorical, interesting questions or any of the sort. Um, testing my, I hope I spelled that correctly. Looks like I did. Sometimes it is nice to have emojis um, included. Usually they're related to flowers, and usually I use no more than one. This is a nice guidance. So keeping it short, keeping it shorter than 100 characters, etc. Preview text, um, there's less restrictions to that, just a little bit more detail on as to what your subject line is. It doesn't really have to uh, have numbers in it included because most people just read the subject line. So I would say, let's see how long I last. Something like that. Um, and then the most important is the content where we create the email. It does give us options to select layouts from the basic templates. I'm very biased in this just because I stick to one of the templates from themes. That's kind of where I feel like I can make more stuff because the DAW is already there. Um, Usually I select one of these two just because I generally like the outlaying of the two of those. Um, I do prefer this one, for example, just because I don't have to deal with the square box. Um, all right, but and I will actually, yeah, I will show first how to use that one. So, for example, I click on this one. How do I change anything in here? I click on this box, and obviously I have to change the logo because that's where the logo goes. And I click on replace. For our logo, there's a special location, which is my logo, and it's right here. And we insert it. That is our logo. Color can change, it can be replaced by image. Um, and generally speaking, most of the time, the fun things that can be written in here are pretty nice, or interesting factors that can uh, maybe even be applied to us, like 50% off during this month, blah blah blah. Um, Usually, one thing that we stick to is we begin with a title. So for this one, would be, I don't know what my title would be. So enjoy the merry season. I should capitalize those. With lots of fresh flowers. Okay. Um, obviously, this is not the best. but you get the idea. Basically, the title. There's a lot of ways to play around with it. For example, you can change it to bold. You can change different styles of this. Um, we might stick to this heading. Font, mm, definitely a decent amount. Can play around with that. Size, self self-explanatory basically. There, if you get if you want to hit certain color, which is not in here, there's an option to click to more colors, and there's a bigger palette in here. Um, we can do, since technically I'm aiming for something Christmas, I can change that a little. Then here we have text. Um, we can do a general blah 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 text like, wow, look at the special sale that we have. Um, and then you have a choice to make. You can, we obviously need to save and close this one. Then you have a choice to make whether to have a button uh, right in here or any other location. So let's edit the button. Browse our selection. Um, we can change that to shop now, for example. And then, most importantly, we have to erase the link and copy our own link. So, for example, this one, shop.incredible, floors.ca. Save and close. Um, that's another important thing that should be done during testing is seeing whether those links actually click and lead somewhere. Um, then, because this is already pre-made and I really don't need any of those, I can delete most of them. That's kind of why it's pretty neat because you don't have to enter any of these into here. But if you delete something and you're like, oh man, I really needed that text, you can just drag it here. And the moment you click save and close, you have multiple options to do the same thing for any other thing. So this one, I don't need it. I don't need it. Similarly with this one, I'll just delete those. So there are two different styles that I have seen is where people have a descriptive text in here, and that's kind of what I stick to is the description is here and then the products are listed below. In that case, I just do insert an image. There's another option of inserting an image with text, but I prefer to focus on just having the most needed text on the image itself. And in that case, instead of just uploading the image, I click onto Creative Assistance. Um, Creative Assistant is a little bit more complex than just adding the files, but it does definitely look cleaner, neater, um, and many more things. So I click on creating a new design. This doesn't really have to be clicked. I can just skip that one. And for example, um, I don't know, let's say my new arrangement is called Footprints on the Snow. Just an example. And in the subheading, I sometimes don't use the subheading, but in the case where it's a special or I need some clarification, like there's candy that comes with this arrangement, or this arrangement is specially for sale only for this amount, I would write it in the subheading. So only for $15 until um I don't know, November November the 25th. Let's do that. Next, I can add the image. Usually there are a few options. It's already uploaded from your files. In that case, it has to be already uploaded into here, which for example, you didn't do. And you don't want to use stock photos because it's our arrangement. So then we click to upload and we go into whichever place you took the arrangement from. Let's say it's this one. Then we click to generate designs. And it might take a little bit of time. My ultimate go-to is not full width, but square, just because usually it's the biggest looking one out of all the different ones. The only other option where it's decently big is hero, but it looks very long just because it is 1 to 2. So square is usually an ultimate go-to in my situation, or at least what I aim for. There and then it gives you multiple different options. One thing to keep in mind is that sometimes it glitches, just like right now. Um, hmm, okay. Oh no. Okay. Creative assistant. There's lucky for us, we can just click on resume the last one. Um, and I click on square. So one thing to keep in mind, it's a hit or a miss. Sometimes when you see this line right there, it means that most likely it will have to stay this minty color, and that's not easily changed. But for example, I don't like any of those. I can ask for more designs and so on. Then if I'm like, this looks nice, but I feel like there's too little of the flowers shown on the picture, I click on edit. And in that case, I can move around the different things. Usually, as long as there's no additional strip of minty color looking thing on any of the sides, it's easier to change colors. I have manually created different color schemes um, to here, and I will most likely show on the next video as to how to do that. Um, but yes, and then my primary concern is how do I make the flowers look bigger? One thing is shuffle layout. So shuffle layout gives a few options and it moves around like so on different directions and stuff like that. But I feel like this one looks the best. It fits the flowers the most. Obviously, some of it is cut, but you can see the full picture, which is nice. Um, and then look to me, it looks good. For example, a few things that we can edit is the font. So, for example, I want this one. No, I don't want this one. Um, let's say this one. I can change the size of the of all of those fonts, and I can change the color of those. Let's yucky. Wow, that's so yucky. Oh, that's decent, I guess. Um, Same with the subheading. And another cool thing is that you can just remove it. So you're like, well, I don't really need it. Or you can change it anytime too. So yeah, it can just look like this. Um, and then you can insert it. Ta-da! Now we have lots of other things to deal with in this situation. First of all, this thing. Um, I think I just realized something that this is unchangeable, potentially. Yeah, the skulls won't go, and I think that's why I didn't use the template. Whoopsies. Um, but oh my goodness, I am so sorry. But this is why I we will work with this one just for the basics. Um, Now with all this pinkish, let's do red. With all this red stuff, Christmas, ooh. Um, this color doesn't really match. We click edit and we go to style. And here I'm like, well, this is somewhat nice. Okay. Um, but I like it red, so there's obviously, you name it, all the colors here. You can go wherever, but I want my stuff red. Like this. Looks decent. Um, the the font itself should stand out. I'll just keep it white in this case. Spacing, it's just the spacing between the letters. Pretty much everything here makes sense, I hope. Like font that is used for the button, size of the font, etc. I can just save and close that. Another thing is here you can do color, and another option is image. The one thing that I play with a lot. Um, Lots of questions are as to where I get images. I usually use the third party that Mailchimp operates with. But for example, I have already uploaded an image to my files, which is one of these, for example, and I like this one. I'm just going to insert it, and I'm like, we can see more of this, and tada, looks decently better. Now, the most important thing is this tiny part. And one reason as to why we prefer to use already pre-made templates is because in the templates it's already inserted into here. I just copy and paste this material from either a previous email or any template that has this part. But this is a very important aspect, and if you're just clearly copying and pasting, you have to make sure that those links get you somewhere and they actually are clickable. Style, same thing, different edits, etc. Now here also I can change the color to reddish or green. Oh, ew. Um, hmm. Someone is struggling with the color scheme in here. That someone is me. Um, oh yeah, another fun function is that you can duplicate anything. So by clicking here, you can duplicate anything that you have done, that you have created. And a neat thing is, well, maybe you don't want the button to be here and you want it to be at the very end. You can drag and move it to the bottom. And basically, this is just a plain text. This is box text. This is a divider. You name it. All of these. And I am just going to go back. What if I do a normal layout, basic? Let's say I'm doing one column full width. And yes, I'm going to change it. It already does for me. Well, that's one of the reasons why I really prefer not to use the templates. They're just more blank. in a way. So I don't have the option, for example, to have an image in here and stuff like that. Um, Another option is the featured. Those ones are a little bit better in terms of the layouts. And let's say I would click this one. It will change the template for me a little. And now I have the freedom to have an image in here. And then I have a separate, I suppose, and then I have a space for an image in here. So let's just say roses. I think they were of bad quality, so I should not be doing that. Let's do this one. Um, oh, I have to unclick the other one. Insert. Ta-da! Enjoy the merry season. But now, this looks bad. So we highlight that and do it wider or make it stand out a little more. Yeah, let's save that. Um, I usually do not recommend to have an image in here, uh, just because there has to be, it's a bother to do the text or make sure that this is readable, especially if the image has multiple colors. But if you like that, and the only issue is the text, one thing that you can do is insert a text with this, where you can style the background to any specific color that you like. So in this case, wow, no, okay, that's decent. Like so. Um, but another thing that I like specifically about copying and pasting the layout, okay, let's just save this one. Continue. And in here, to send your email remove. Before we send out anything to the customers, we send a test email, and those are usually the emails that I send it to. You can add other ones to it. Yes, and generally one thing to consider, important thing, is we have to send a test email to Dan separately, just because usually it glitches and Dan doesn't get the email if we write all of them in here. So you send emails to all of the following just like that, but separately then to danlim@rax.ca. I will definitely not do that just because this is not the type of email to do it. A few things that we can do is finish later. And now, for example, one reason why I prefer to reuse the templates generally is because for the convenience. And another thing is it's it looks neat to me because in all of the emails that are going out for Shop.Incredible Florist, we have to write a certain thing. So because it's different than Happy Life November campaign, we have to edit the name. So let's just name it test 2. Um, we make sure that this is to the right segment, customers, Incredible Florist, info, yes, example, roses, ultramarine, and sweets, number. Here, it doesn't have to be a number. Um, yeah, we don't concern ourselves with that. And now the only thing you have to do is redo the design. So topic is winter-ish, so definitely change the color scheme and so on. But one good thing about the email is that it already has the friends and loyalty program, and you don't have to bother with uh, create, because one thing is it's hard to create the separate boxing in the normal emails. You have to change it from the pre-made template, and I definitely do not remember which template I used to find those different linings, but friends and loyalty program, we always add it to all of the shop.incredible florist emails, and that's kind of a separate box of its own. This is the general style I follow: picture, no picture, usually picture, text that stand out, and then some color with the copyright. Let's say we have a new arrangement, a beautiful new arrangement. Um, I usually save the image if I don't have it, so in this case I will. Moonlight Magic. Um, we will definitely get rid of those. Our theme would be more bluish, more magical, etc. And I will most likely make a second video at this moment because this one is most likely getting too long.